Feel the speed, the thrill, high octane drama can't get our fill. Engines roaring loud, heartbeats on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Yeah. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checker flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You will do NFR, feel the speed.
Well, gather round, folks, let me spin you a tale about a race car driver, George Russell by name. He's quick on the track, but don't get too excited, cause when it comes to greatness, well, he's not quite knighted. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. He's got the helmet, he's got the car, but when it comes to win, he's not quite up to par. He's got the look like Woody with a cowboy hat, but when he's in the pit, you'll see him shed a tear stack. Now don't get me wrong, he's got some skill, but when you're talking about the best, he's not in that mill. He'll race you hard, give you quite the fright, but in the end, he's more known for his tears at night. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run.
the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. The victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin. NFR, lights are green. Zooming fast, slick machine. Every twist, every scene. Catch the action on your screen. NFR, yeah, NFR, yeah. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin.
Well, Liam Lawson rode into Red Bull's gates. Kiwi kid with dreams so great. 2 races in, he hit the wall. Max Verstappen wrecked him, y'all. He thought he'd shine, but oh sweet son, Max chewed him up like a 2-day run. 2 races and a teardrop, that's all he got. 5 faster than a jackrabbit shot. Max destroyed another teammate. It's plain to see from Ricciardo to Lawson, he's a one-man spree. Daddy Rick tried with his big old grin. Max spun him out, said I always win. Gasly and Albon, they took their turn. Crashed and burned, oh how they yearned. Perez hung on till his tires were flat. Now Williams gone, imagine that. 2 races and a teardrop, that's all he got. 5 faster than a jackrabbit shot. Max destroyed another teammate. It's plain to see from Ricciardo to Lawson, he's a one-man spree. Red Bull barn's a lowly place. If you ain't Max, you're out of the race. Liam packed his boots, said I'm done, I reckon. Max just smirked, next victim's beckoning. The pit crew sang, he's too dang fast. Every teammate's a thing of the past. Now Lawson's back with the junior squad, singing why'd I think I'd beat that god. Max's shadow looms so tall and wide. Another teammate's pride just died. From Daniel Pierre out of Checo too. Liam learned what we all knew. 2 races and a teardrop, that's all he got. 5 faster than a jackrabbit shot. Max destroyed another teammate. It's plain to see from Ricciardo to Lawson, he's a one-man spree. So here's to Liam with a beer and a side. 2 races down and a wide-eyed try. Max keeps winning that Dutch tornado. Red Bull's second seat, a big old no-no.
Orlando, mate, you had it rough. Car so slow, it was barely enough. Chugging along at the back of the pack. Fans yelling, mate, where's your pace at? Year after year, you'd smile through the pain, dreaming of glory, but stuck in the slow lane. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. Now here comes 2025. McLaren's car is straight up alive. Lando's grinning, he's topping the charts, screaming, this beast got a million parts. But wait a sec, who's that in the other seat? Some Aussie kid who's bringing the heat. Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscar's in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. Oscar's new buddy stealing the show, passing Lando like, mate, let's go. Lando's like, I waited years for this ride. Oscar shrugs, cool story, now step aside. Team radio crackles, Lando behave, but Oscar's too busy catching that wave. Poor Lando thought he'd rule the track, but Oscar's out there, no looking back. Fans love the kid with the cheeky grin. Lando's like, when's my parade gonna begin? Still their mates, they laugh, they jest. McLaren's got two and they're both the best. Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscar's in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. So here's to Lando, still chasing that crown, and Oscar the rookie who's shaking it down. Two fast mates in a papaya dream. McLaren's laughing, what a chaotic team. Oh, Lando, Oscar's got your number made.
Like a shooting star, the engines roar, the tires scream, fast as lightning, it's a dream. Speed and drama every turn on NFR, the rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR calls to play on NFR every race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, holy friend. And not Fernando calls to play on NFR at race day. Commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR, burning tracks, driving far, where the races never end. NFR, holy friend. Deaf queen, the top support to see in the crowd where speed is keen. NFR, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see.
In the quiet lanes of Silverstone town, folks are whispering about a boy falling down. Got a seat from his daddy, money's the king. Driving that Williams ain't like riding free. Tires spin, engines roar, but the podium's far. His wheels hit the gravel, now there's damage to the car. Got the world at his feet, yet he fumbles the lead. His dreams race away, but he's not in the speed. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name that can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Now he's got his own team with a famous name. Aston Martin's the brand, but it's still the same shame. Every corner, every turn, the crashes unfold. Dreams wrapped in carbon fiber, truth left untold. Paddock folks shake their heads with a sigh as the green car spins and the hopes run dry. No matter the funds, it's a harsh game of pain. $1 million toys can't shelter the rain. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Daddy's money, daddy's ride, crashing dreams, nowhere to hide. Bought him a name but can't buy a skill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill. Lance keeps trying, but the track's all uphill.
Max the Maverick. He rolls to the grid, eye sharp as a blade. A storm in the cockpit, never afraid. Teammates tremble, they can't keep pace. Max takes the wheel, owns every race. From car to crown, he carved his way. A predator born to slay the day. The records fall, the doubters fade. A legend's forged, the price is paid. Max Verstappen, king of the fight. Burning the track in the dead of night. Outruns the pack, leaves them behind. Fastest heart with a mastermind. Not the quickest car, but he still shines. Bends the rules, rewrites the lines. Max Verstappen, hear the roar. The champ who always begs for more. Are born, they tried their best, but Max just laughs, aces the test. He dances through corners, a devil's art, tears up the field, rips it apart. Red Bull's wings, they used to soar. Now it's Max who evens the score. The car's not prime, the rivals grin, but he still finds a way to win. Max Verstappen, king of the fight, burning the track in the dead of night. Outruns the pack, leaves them behind. Fastest heart with a mastermind. Not the quickest car, but he still shines. Bends the rules, rewrites the lines. Max Verstappen, hear the roar. The champ who always begs for more.
Feel the speed, the thrill, yeah. High octane drama can't get off fill. Engines roaring loud, heartbeats on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Yeah. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checker flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR's lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You move to NFR, feel the speed.
Let me spin you a tale about a race car driver, George Russell by name. He's quick on the track, but don't get too excited, cause when it comes to greatness, well, he's not quite knighted. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fake. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. He's got the helmet, he's got the car, but when it comes to win, he's not quite up to par. He's got the look like Woody with a cowboy hat, but when he's in the pit, you'll see him shed a tear stack. Now don't get me wrong, he's got some skill, but when you're talking about the best, he's not in that mill. He'll race you hard, give you quite the fright, but in the end, he's more known for his tears at night. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody on the run. He's good, but not that great. Oh George, he's got the speed, but not the fate. Oh George, he looks like Woody from Toy Story, that's no lie. And when the race goes wrong, oh how that boy can cry. So here's to George, with his heart on his sleeve. In the world of Formula One, he's got a lot to achieve. He might not be the champ, but he sure is fun. So let's give a cheer for George, our Woody.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to NFR. Welcome back to SAFRL on a Tuesday night. Of course, we've gone just past 8 p.m. and we're getting ready to go. Usual format for tonight, the short qualifying session. So just 18 minutes for everybody to get around and set that field for the race. Then we go off into the normal 50% distance. That, of course, is the main event. This is just the dress rehearsal. But you can get pole, you can get a dominant pole, and it can all go wrong at turn 1. But this is where the evening begins. Begins with quali. Dion, if you don't mind giving me that pole prediction again, because it's up there in the chat somewhere, but you'd have to scroll a lot. Let me know what that pole prediction was for Bahrain. One of the drivers out on circuit early on. This is Skull, one of the Aston Martins. Of course, last week we had a tribute race for SAFRL, fallen friend of this league. Tonight, see his teammate Wheeze in the Red Bull. It was decided by the league that no one would take up that second Red Bull seat until the end of the season. So we won't see more than one Red Bull in the field for the rest of the season. Of course, we're in Bahrain, circuit that's been on the calendar a lot longer than you think. It's been on the calendar since 2004. I believe it only missed one Grand Prix. I think that was in 2011. That was due to some Bahrain protests, uprising, whatever you want to call it. They missed one Grand Prix, but they didn't miss another. They even made it through COVID. They even had extra layouts through COVID. Of course, this circuit famous for having, I think it's 4, maybe it's 5, but it's definitely a minimum of 4 FIA grade 1 layouts, which means any of those layouts are good enough for F1. Of course, it's got the layout you're looking at. Then there's got what they call the endurance layout. It was used once for Formula 1. It was a extremely boring race, and they decided never to use it again. Then of course you get the outer loop, which we used once. Everyone will remember that night because of George Russell subbing for Lewis Hamilton and almost taking race victory, had his team not botched a pit stop. And of course the 4th layout is a shortened version of this, presumably for the addition of Formula E. Of course, Formula E enjoys much shorter race circuits than this. Wheeze, quickest man in the field, 27.6, the only driver in the 27s. Next best is Skull with a 28.6. Difference between P1 and 2, a staggering 1 second. Then you've got Dispatcher just behind, 28.8, another 28, is that a 28.7 rather? Then Virus, 28.7 as well. That's 5,000ths of a second between 3 and 4. Essa, Andre, Skulk, Harsh Cartoon, Boinkies, and Top Gun. Those are the timed drivers. Still waiting for lap times from Lebby, Jonas, Osman, and Spikes. I tell you, they're all quick drivers. Keep your eyes on Lebby. Of course, in the Papaya McLaren, the car of choice in 2025. Such an odd story for that Papaya McLaren. Of course, when the car returned to these colors, it had a Honda engine, and it was a terrible, terrible partnership between Honda and McLaren. Everyone thought Red Bull were crazy for taking on that Honda engine, but it turned around, it worked for them. It certainly did not work in the back of the McLaren. Since the addition of that Mercedes engine, the car has gotten better and better. Of course, last season challenged for the championship, but those upgrades came maybe 1 or 2 rounds too late. But this year in 2025, they're the team to beat. I think the only way Max Verstappen can hope for a 5th title this year is if those McLarens land up tripping over each other over and over again. Just 2 examples of that already exist at McLaren. Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, famously rival teammates at McLaren. Then it repeated itself a few decades later with Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. Things could quickly turn sour. We haven't exactly seen those McLarens race just yet. Quite a few of you watching already early on in qualifying. Great to have all of you here. Thanks for supporting the stream. Thanks for coming back. We've almost got more viewers than we've got drivers. That's pretty impressive. Of course, just the 14 in the field. We saw a stacked lobby last week. It was, of course, paying respects. Field of 20, everybody dying to get in here. I think we had a 25-minute delay almost. Not wanting to get that race started until absolutely everyone who wanted to be involved had an opportunity to be involved. This is Andre, driver currently in P8. He's had his first run. I believe this is his second run. We join him as he heads down the straight. DRS open. Runs very wide. I wonder if he was able to hold on to that lap or if that was invalidated. Let's bring up his track map. Doesn't seem to be in red. I think this lap is still on. Of course, everybody on the soft tires. Nobody messing about. Nobody sandbagging except for Skull. Well as Andre and Skull. Look at their tires. They've done multiple laps on that set of tires. So that tells us there's a lot more pace coming from both of them. Of course, that's for 2 reasons. The obvious reason being the tire is not optimal after 3 laps. The other one being, for that first flyer, they would have had 3 laps of fuel in. Maybe a little bit of sandbagging, maybe a little bit of last minute practice. Whatever that was, they decided to do something a little different. When they do come out with the fresh rubber, they're going to have lap times a lot quicker than that. Wheeze. 27.6, still the quickest man. Levy P2 27.9, so there are 2 cars there in the 27s. Then Spikes 28.3. Jonas on an outlap, not happy with that first run, also a 28.3, just 0.05 of a second between him and P3. Then Skull has slipped down the order since. This is the Aston Martin, looking for an improvement. Current best is a 28.3. And Wheeze goes quickest, 27.1. Goodness me. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken. Let me just see if Tian got back to me on that prediction. I don't think he did. Let's just try and scroll up. There we go. A little bit earlier on, before qualifying even began. In fact, we were in the pre-stream. Tian made a prediction for pole position. He predicted that pole position would be between a 27.0 and a 27.2. And currently, pole position is a 27.1. So didn't give himself much margin for error, just gave himself 0.2 of a second. And so far, if the checkered flag were to fall, it would fall right in the middle of that prediction. I don't think that time's going to stand. Is it going to be good enough till the end of the session? See, Levy's going to get back out there. Spike's going to get back out there. Jonas is out on track. We know he's got a lot more pace than a 28.3. It's a quick driver this. Jonas about to go over the line. And he goes quickest. Told you he was quick to 27.0. Still spot on with that prediction. Remember, he said a 28.0 to a 28.2. Could we see a 26? Rees would have been so happy with that lap time. 27.1. It was a dominant lap time when he set it. But Jonas has since gone over the line. Found an extra 10th. And taken that pole just a few hundredths away from a 26. Realistically, to take provisional pole or pole position in this race, you're going to have to get into the 26s. Somehow just scrape that lap time. This is Dispatcher. See the track rather lighting up in purple. That means he was quickest in sector 2. Doesn't matter how quick you are in the sectors, it's about sewing the rest of the lap together, and let's see what Dispatcher can come up with. It was a good middle sector. And it's a 28.4 P6. For one of the two Mercedes. Of course, we've got the other Mercedes down in P13, that's Skulk. You can see him just weaving around, prepping his tyres. He's on an out lap. Still 5 minutes remaining in the session. Drivers still have time to get around for another go. Everyone in the top 5 remains in the pits. Dispatcher is on an in lap. Let's have a look at Andre. Currently in P9, returns to the pits. Current best still a 28.8. I think that was still on an old set of tyres. What is the Ferrari driver up to? Skull remains in the pits. Wonder if he just went out, forgot to change his tyres and returned to the pits. 'Cause that was pretty odd. Had 3 laps on those tyres. When he came into the pits he still had 3 laps, which means he didn't complete the lap. Just went out for one final sighter on the used tyres. Or he forgot to change them. Dispatcher will return to the pits. There we go. And Harsh Cartoon, well, it's just right on board. Thought maybe for a moment Harsh Cartoon was seeing things that we don't see. But he is in the pits. But hopefully he does not emerge from the pits on that set of tyres. Because Harsh Cartoon currently has a set of intermediates fitted to the car. This is the second Ferrari. Is Harsh Cartoon getting W's or is he getting L's? I can't tell. And there we go. Visor. I think it was Visor, yes. Visor said, Harsh Cartoon, go out there and put some rubber on the track for us. And it seems Is Harsh Cartoon watching the stream? Is he in the comment section? Did he see that comment? So that's exactly what he's doing. He's going out on a set of intermediates. Why? I'm not sure. But I guess if you're in P13, why not? So two Haas drivers at the rear of the field, 13 and 14. Of course, Haas having a much better season in 2025. They've already outscored their points from 2024. Same situation for Williams. And a big spin from Wheeze. Does good, does well to hold on to things. But that's what happens when you're pushing. That's what happens when you're close to the limit. I'm pretty sure that last lap, 27.1, that was already close to the limit. But you know you need to find an extra tenth. Start taking liberties. Start getting a little braver. And you find that limit. And once you go over it, there's no coming back. This is Essa, P10. One of the two Williams. This is the driver suspiciously on intermediate tyres. Does he know something we all don't know? As the commentator asking questions. Has the chat spamming W's? What does Harsh Cartoon know that we don't know? He's on the intermediate tyre, saving all of his tyres for the race. Maybe it's all down to strategy. Jonas, quickest driver in the field, 27.0. He's looking to improve on that lap even further. He's currently on an out lap. You can see him just prepping the tyres. Wheeze has retired from the session, so there'll be no more laps from him. Let's stay with the quickest man. Does he return to the pits? It almost looked like he was going to return to the pits. He wants to be as close to the pit wall as possible. I think the outside of the track there a little bit bumpy. Very nicely done into turn one. Just takes enough of that curb. Not too much as to destabilize the car. Now through the S's. Of course, this was one of the first circuits designed by Herman Tilke. Of course, seems like all circuits are designed by Herman Tilke these days. But if I'm not mistaken, this was number 3. First one was Malaysia. Second one was Shanghai. And I'm pretty sure Bahrain was the third one. And I think it's one of his best. I say one of his best because I think his best circuit, well, it's not even on the calendar. I think his best circuit is Turkey. Had a lap with Jonas. Goes around the final corner. Let's see, does he improve? He's not peeling off into the pits. 27.0. Does he find a 26? Yes, he does, and it's a 26.8. Goes even beyond the prediction. The prediction that I thought was pushing it a little. 28, rather a 26.6. And then Wheeze at 27.1. We saw when he was pushing at the end there, he lost that Red Bull. But I think he had something on the way as well. We just never got to find out. Only Wheeze will know if he was up on his time. Everyone has now crossed the checkered flag. That is the end of qualifying. Those 18 minutes do go by pretty quickly. I can tell you, if you're one of the drivers, they go by a lot quicker than they do for us. Get that first run wrong, and all of a sudden that 18 minutes Doesn't feel so long anymore. There's your results. Jonas takes pole position. Wees in P2, got close but lost out on that final run. Then Spikes P3, Lebby P4, Virus P5. They're followed by Osmond, Skull, Dispatcher, Andre and Essa, making up the top 10. Outside the top 10 with a bit of work to do, got Top Gun P11, Skull P12, Boinky's 13, Harsh Cartoon, he's going to go from the rear of the field. But I don't think it means too much. Starting outside the top 10, just the 14 drivers. Everybody tonight with a great opportunity of picking up points. The emojis in the chat suggesting that was an alien lap, and indeed it was. 26.8. When that prediction came in for the 27.0, I thought, no, that's a bit ridiculous. Maybe a mid 27, and then it happened. 27.1. I didn't think we'd go beyond that, but we did get into the 26s, and we got into the 26.8s. Very impressive lap time. Of course, in the race, it is quite different. If you just have that 1/10 advantage or that 2/10 advantage over the car behind you, it doesn't really help. If that car is within a second, you just tow him around, and whatever advantage you have sort of just gets neutralized. Of course, a bit of a pause. All the cars to the left hand side of your screen doing their final preparations for the race. Decisions like what tyre to start on, how deep into the race do they intend to go, and what do they expect to come in those opening laps. Still a lengthy pause. Eventually we will get underway, hopefully. When was it that we had a broken lobby? I think it may have been, was it the League v League? Was it the SKR last week? It may have been, but that time it was different. We got the formation lap done, and then it broke. This time it's just a lengthy break. Maybe the guy's taking some extra time to get those strategies in, make sure they're right. Of course, I mentioned that this track has been on the calendar for a very long time, since 2004. But Fernando Alonso, well, he's been there longer. Fernando Alonso made his debut in 2001. Of course, two drivers who have stood the test of time in Formula One at the moment, Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, both in their 40s. Of course, if Fernando Alonso or Lewis Hamilton were to win a race next week, they wouldn't be the oldest man in Formula One to win a Grand Prix. In fact, that goes to, I'm not going to be able to tell you the driver's name because I can't remember, but I believe he was 54. Of course, F1 has changed quite a bit since then. There we go, we should get the dual green lights, and we're off for a formation lap. Dion just backing up what I said there. DRS, in fact saying DRS too OP in this game, too overpowered. Even if you're 6/10 faster a lap, it just doesn't matter. So when you take that into consideration, that maybe the DRS is just too powerful, then that's maybe why we see DRS trains stay together for as long as they do, and then suddenly when they break, there's no coming back. The gap just suddenly extends. So maybe those huge gaps that were once neutralized by DRS suddenly showing themselves. Everyone just weaving about, preparing their tires, doing the only preparation they can do. Getting the tires ready for turn 1, getting the brakes ready for turn 1. Of course, getting their minds ready for turn 1 and all the corners that come after that. It's a track we don't usually see too many safety cars at. We see a lot of space around the circuit, a lot of runoff area. So a lot of times if you go off circuit you can get away with it, at least without terminal damage. Visor saying safety car predictions. If one does come, maybe at the end of the race, when minds start to wander and the guys start to get a little tired. Maybe it's just me hoping for a safety car at the end of the race. They're always a little bit more exciting when they come at the end. I don't think we're going to have to worry about rain in the desert, but we have seen stranger things on this channel. But safety cars, definitely a possibility. But I think you'd have to be pretty unlucky to get terminal damage around here. It's going to be Jonas versus Wheeze, the two quickest men in qualifying, the two drivers that cover the front row. And they're going to be the first two into turn 1. Is there going to be an attack? Alpine thought about going around the outside. Almost looked like there was contact. Don't think there was, but the Alpine has just tucked in behind the Red Bull for now and attacks again. Goes towards the inside. So much weaving, almost looks like a very quick formation lap. Wheeze, Jonas, Spikes, Osman, Andre, Virus, Skull, Essa, Top Gun, Skulk, Boinkies, Lebby, he's just made up a position, Destroyer 13, and Harsh Cartoon at the rear of the field, hopefully not on a set of intermediate tyres. No, he's not. Wheeze still leads the way at the front. 0.4 of a second is the gap. Jonas P2, Spikes P3, but Spikes already starting to lose touch with the leaders. You can see that gap has just gone over the crucial DRS range that I just mentioned earlier. So important to stay within that 1 second. The advantage you gain is huge. The moment you fall out of it, you can see there 1.2 seconds, so even down the straight wasn't able to close that gap at all, and it's only going to get bigger. Wheeze from Jonas, from Spikes. Nothing's changed in the top 3. Except the distance between the cars. Spikes falling back. So top 3 all on a set of hard tyres. Osman looking racy in P4, but he's got a set of softs on those cars. On that car. Should have a lot of traction. But that will be the first set of tyres to fall off in this race. 2 drivers have gone for that option. Osman in the Sauber. That's the car you're looking at. Currently in P4. The other, Top Gun, in P8. Also going with the soft tyre. Maybe hoping for a thrilling start. Make up as many positions as you can and then just hang in someone's DRS. Now Osman getting really racy. He wants to take that P3 away. What a mix of tyres. P3 hards, P4 softs, P5 mediums, and that's just switched around because Andre now goes up into P4. Osman just attacked the back of the Williams there. Sort of lost momentum because of that attack. And now he's just heading backwards. Let's just have a look at and see any wing damage. You see any wing damage? I don't see any wing damage. Well, it'd be good to have a better camera angle. The game just knows when to cut away. And we get a look at the front wing of the Sauber. These directors are almost worse than F1 TV. There we go, it does still have its end plates. So that's just Osman losing a bit of momentum, and it may have come down to that attack. To that attack on the Williams, the unsuccessful attack. And now he finds himself not only behind the Williams, but also behind a Ferrari. And he's coming under pressure from an Aston Martin. Focusing on these four, what about the two up front? It's Red Bull versus Alpine, it's Wies versus Jonas, and Wies takes back the lead. The way these two are able to match each other, it's just a case of slinging past each other every DRS zone. It's about the long game. This is only lap 4 of 29. While these two will be racing, I assure you the racing will become a lot harder if it were just 3 or 4 laps to go and this was the distance between them. For now, I think they're both playing the long game. They've got the pace to stay out ahead of everybody and open that gap. There's no tyre rubbing just yet. Andre into P3. Final podium step. Almost 6 seconds down the road now from the two leaders. They've really disappeared up the road. Look at that. Almost 6 seconds. 5.8 seconds now to the leaders. And this is the situation where you need regular safety cars just to stop the aliens from disappearing up the road. But I did say here in Bahrain, don't expect to see too many safety cars. Andre versus Osman. Osman, he finally gets the P3 he was fighting for. Had to fight a Williams for it. That was unsuccessful. Then he started going backwards. It was a little bit worrying. Then he had to fight a Ferrari for it. Got it right the second time around. Ferrari fights back and he slams the door. I think Andre might have been expecting that. If he had kept his foot in, it may have been contact. A little higher up the field, Jonas and Wies. Boinkies has DNF'd. We didn't see the DNF. I think that may have been a DNF in the pits, because it didn't trigger any sort of safety car. Obviously Boinkies had some sort of issue in that race. Let us know, Boinkies, what happened. Hopefully he didn't collide with his teammate. Because I see both Haas cars there at the back. Hopefully that's not the case. Let us know, Boinkies, what happened in the race. Why are you in the comment section so early? And why is your name grayed out at the bottom of the screen? It's still Wheeze and Jonas. It's still 0.3 of a second between the two. Andre still in P3. Same as last time we checked. But the gap keeps on getting bigger. It was 5.8 seconds. It's now 7.4. Seems like the two in front are from a different division. That's not the case. Just out front. In a complete league of their own, in a race of their own, unaware of everything that's happening behind them. It's just two of them. It almost looks like they're having fun in a practice session. Of course, it's one thing to admire the racing, the speed, but it's another thing that doesn't get spoken of enough. The respect between the drivers. It's one thing to drive quick, it's one thing to make brave overtakes. It's quite another not to make contact. I believe the term is driver etiquette. Those words are a little bit too big for me. Driver etiquette. I'll leave that up to the George Russells of this world. Jonas leads the way from Wheeze, 0.4 of a second. Andre still in P3 and that gap continues to grow. Last time we checked 7.4 seconds. Now it's just crossed the 9-second mark and soon we could be in double figures. This is the man in P3. Has been able to shake off the rest. Not quite. Spikes still very much within DRS. This is the man in question, Spikes. And look at this midfield. There's just no separating them. Andre, Spikes, Virus, Osman, and Levy at the rear there. So from 3 to 7, everybody covered by less than 2 seconds. And we've got a bit of a gap. Another DRS battle between the two Mercedes, Dispatcher and Skulk, 8 and 9. And we've got Skull. He's also leading a DRS train of his own. He's got Top Gun behind him, and ooh, Skull, we've joined him at the wrong moment. Maybe he heard the stream, maybe he doesn't enjoy being commentated on. Has he DNF'd? I think he may have DNF'd. Skull, DNFs. Very disappointing. That is the end of the Aston Martin. He was obviously going backwards in the field, and then that spin was one too many, and he has just had enough. So 2 retirements from the 14 that started means we've got 12 runners left in the field, and it's only lap 8 of 29. They're dropping like flies. Hopefully we have enough cars to finish this race. The 1996 Monaco Grand Prix. Only 4 cars classified at the end of the race. Only 3 of them on the lead lap. Surely we won't see a situation like that here. 2 retirements, still no safety car around Bahrain. I'm sure you all watched the Grand Prix around here on Sunday afternoon, I suppose it was. Of course, right after that. In fact, while these guys were celebrating on the podium, just 15 minutes later, boys at MotoGP, they got their race going. It just so happened that both formulas were in the Middle East. Obviously Formula 1 in Bahrain, and then MotoGP starting 15 minutes later, just 400 kilometers away in Qatar. Seems unfair. MotoGP and Formula 1 happening at the same time in a shorter distance than Johannesburg to Bloemfontein. Of course, talks of a South African Grand Prix at Kyalami now coming into serious question. Track's possible hosts, circuits, were asked to put out proposals for hosting the event, and well, Cape Town's been the first one to get their proposal out, and I'm not so sure I like that circuit. Jonas versus Wees, 0.3 of a second. Then Spikes in P3, so that order has changed. He's taken over P3 from Andre, but the gap is insane. It's 12.1 seconds. Look at that. As I say 12.1 seconds, it changes on screen to 12.5 seconds. This guy's losing 3 or 4 tenths every other corner, and the leaders just having a laugh about it. Saw before the stream, some of you enjoyed the music, some of you enjoyed the subscribe thumbnails that I put up, mostly the George Russell Toy Story character. Glad you all appreciate the little bit of creativity I put into the channel, or the minimal creativity I put into the channel. This is Wees versus Jonas. I keep on coming back to these two, expecting to see something different. It's absolutely nothing different. They just keep on changing order. But in terms of a gap, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, there's nothing in it. They match each other lap after lap. And what do you even do in a situation like this? You know you can't get away. Simply play the long game. You hope the strategy is going to sort this out. Maybe an undercut to open up some sort of a gap at the front. Something needs to be done, or these cars will simply not be separated. Of course, they both went for the hard tyre, so they're going to be going longer into the race than anybody else. Spikes in P3 also on that hard tyre, but he's still coming under pressure from Andre. Andre up into P3, which suggests to me those mediums are still working for the time being. Thank you to Visor, like and subscribe. Reminder, everyone who's watching, if it's your first visit to the channel, which I doubt it is, remember to subscribe to see more of this sort of content. This is SAFRL on a Tuesday night. We also do SKR on a Sunday afternoon, and a League v League between 4 of South Africa's fastest leagues on a Monday night at 8 PM. And of course, if you've been here multiple times, remember to hit the like button. Helps out in the smallest way, but it does help. Ooh, and the slightest bump, we saw it. Levy getting on the back of the Williams. And now Andre comes into the pits. Those medium runners following suit. Got 3 drivers now into the pits. Osman was on a set of softs. The other 2 drivers were on a set of mediums. Wees, Jonas, 0.3 of a second. I keep on saying it. 2 tenths, 3 tenths. nothing in it. But this gap here, well, this gap is ridiculous. If things continue like this for another 2 or 3 laps, I think Wees and Jonas will be able to pit and still come out ahead of the field. Of course, a pit stop around most circuits on the calendar will take between 20 and 25 seconds, preferably closer to 20. Luckily, we are in the game and we are not in real life, so the drivers don't need to worry too much about the mechanics botching the pit stop. Worst thing you can do is just get that parking wrong. Got to try and get it in the purple or at least the green. Don't need anything slowing you down, especially if that's the gap between the leaders. Again, they just switch positions. Jonas now to the front, Wees P2 just trading the lead for now. 0.3 of a second is the gap. 18.2 is the gap down to P3. Now take note of Andre. Of course, Andre, he was fighting with Lebby, he was fighting with Spikes for that P3, and he was the first to pit. So this will be our first indication of that undercut. But when will these two pit? Tian, you're in the comment section. I think you're still there. Tian, let me know. Hard tires. What is the distance we're looking at? Say maybe lap 17. Or is that a bit too far? Maybe lap 15. So some of these runners take the mediums till lap 11. So I think there's still a little bit more life in those hards. Maybe lap 14, lap 15. I know I keep on coming down, but I think I'm somewhere in the range. Lap 15. They go around for another lap, do they? Was that a dummy? I wonder if that was a dummy. For a brief moment, looked like the Alpine might dive into the pits at the last moment. Then he just straightened that front wing. I wonder if that was a dummy, hoping that the Red Bull would react. Or is that all in my imagination? .4 of a second. Suppose I could exaggerate and say this is the biggest the gap has ever been. Half a second. 0.6. It's getting worse. Guys, what are you doing? Jonas needs to reel him in. Things are getting out of hand. Lebby still in P3. 18.8 seconds. Spikes has somehow fallen off. I wonder if he made a mistake or went off circuit. But he's lost a lot of time. Still on that hard tyre. It's definitely not the tyre that's going off, because Lebby, well, he's doing just fine up the road. So Spikes, he's lost a lot of time. He's lost about 3 or 4 seconds. These two continue. Said the gap was getting out of hand, and they have quickly closed it back to 0.2 of a second. Pfizer saying 20 laps on the hards. Well, then you'd almost be able to finish on a set of softs. See who's right. Maybe it's Pfizer. Maybe I'm very much off. And the hards last a very long time around Bahrain. Unfortunately, I don't do any test laps myself of the track. That would probably help. Collect some commentator data. Of course, that's something unique we can do in the gaming world. The commentator can jump on track and pick up some data of his own. Don't know how that would work in real life. Don't think anyone wants to see Will Buxton on the circuit. And Jolyon Palmer, well, I don't think anyone wants to see him on the circuit ever again. Especially Renault. Makes a good commentator though, he just wasn't a fantastic driver. Jonas leads from Wheeze, 2/10, 20 seconds now the gap down to P3. That's the gap I was talking about. They can extend that 21, 22, 23, then they can just confirm they can come into the pits and not be affected by the rest of the field. Of course, that's always a bit of a risk. You attempt to pull the undercut, you pit first. You get your calculations wrong, you come out in traffic, and the time you thought you were going to make up with that undercut, you lose trying to get past cars. That won't be a problem for the leaders because they've extended that gap beyond 20 seconds. 21 in fact. Always a difficult stream when you've got two drivers at the front racing so hard, separated by absolutely nothing, and you want to give footage to the rest of the field. But how do you do it? Because to give footage to the rest of the field, you've got to take your eyes off that battle. 0.3 of a second. Wheeze and Jonas will focus more on the battle later. Because for the time being, they're just trading places. Let's go, Andre. That's the message from Death Queen, driver currently in P5. We're looking at him on our screens. It's right on board with the Ferrari driver. Hopefully he takes a commentator's critique a little bit better than Skull did earlier on. Of course, when we went to Skull, he had a vicious spin. And that happened to Wheeze as well. When we went on board with Wheeze in qualifying, all of a sudden he had a vicious spin. So maybe the Ferrari driver doesn't want us on board with him, but that's too bad. Usually the viewers in the comment section, they enjoy some of the intro songs. Death Queen usually loves the intro songs. Well, today I made an intro song she wasn't too happy about. That's the only complaint I got. So for now, it's staying on the playlist. So I kinda like it. And just for the record, I am a Lando fan. Most of the time. I think I've been watching Formula 1 for way too long to have one solitary driver. Of course, I've supported drivers that have started their careers and then gone on to retire. It means you have to start supporting somebody else. And I've gone from driver to team to driver to team. That right now, I suppose I'm a Red Bull supporter. Well, if you look at the comms box, I'm definitely a Red Bull supporter. But I'm always happy to see a Ferrari victory, even a McLaren victory, a team that was once at the top of Formula 1 for so long, fallen to the rear of the field. It's great to see them back where they deserve to be. The next team I'd like to see back where they deserve to be is Williams. A lot of the viewers haven't been watching F1 as long as I have, and you'll think, Williams? What are you talking about, Williams? Well, in the 90s, that was the dominant team. 5 constructors titles in the space of 10 years. Not sure how many drivers titles. That would, well, I'd have to think for that. I think it was Williams 92, 93, 96 and 97. So 4 drivers' titles in 10 years, 5 constructors' titles. And that was also in the middle of the Michael Schumacher era. Or the beginning of the Michael Schumacher era. Jonas and Weiss, 3/10, nothing's changed. Now something's changing. Levy comes into the pits. It's going to be getting rid of those hard tyres. What happens next? What happens next is Andre flies past the pits and reclaims that 3rd spot. Where is Levy? He's already left his spot. Where is Andre? It's going to be close at the pit exit. There is Levy. I think Andre's done enough. We don't even see the McLaren as we fly past. I think the Aston Martin's got him too. Yes, Virus gets ahead of Levy. Levy down to P5. And now Andre in a pretty good position to hold on to P3. Driver behind him, Virus, has the same set of tyres, same age, 7 laps apiece on the hard compound, with a 1.8 second gap, and crucially that is outside of DRS. So a podium definitely on the cards. As for a P1, P2, well, it would take these two to have the collision of a lifetime, and I just don't see that happening. We watch them switch positions yet again. That's what happens when you get 2 drivers on the absolute limit, not making any mistakes. The only time you're going to see them pass each other is in the DRS, and the rest of the time they're just going to match each other around the circuit, corner after corner. It almost looks like they're doing it on purpose. Back to the man in P3, 43 seconds down the road from the battle you were just watching. But they do still have to pit, so that gap will go down to just over half. Spikes, fastest man on the circuit at the moment. 2 laps on those mediums. Show you Jonas and Weiss, they will be both looking forward to those softer compounds. Prediction was right from Visor. Visor said 20 laps on the hards. Seems like he was right on the nose. Will we see the 2 leaders come into the pits, or will they stay out? Yes, they do. Looked like they were going to stay out. Red Bull dives into the pits and Jonas responds immediately. So these 2 are not going to be split by a pit window. They're not going to be split by an undercut. Hopefully they're going to come out just as close as they went in. And I think that's confirmation of it. It's about who gets off this pit lane better. Gap was 2 or 3 tenths when they came into the pits. And we'll just wait for the timing sheet to update itself. Half a second. 4 tenths of a second. There we go. Back to normal. 4 tenths of a second between the 2, except this time they're on the soft tyre. That means they're going to be even quicker. Levy, fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 30. But I can guarantee you that's about to change. This is the quickest man out on circuit at the moment. P4, Levy's chasing down a podium. It's just 7 tenths away from Andre, and he's got the superior tyre in age and compound. So Andre's going to be having his hands full if he wants to hold on to that P3. I just don't think he's got the tools to do it, unfortunately. We know those hard tyres can go all the way to lap 20, but we don't know what their performance is at the moment. And we do know that Levy has the advantage of just 2 laps on those mediums. They're practically brand new. And there we go. Not much Andre could do I was going to say important now to stay within DRS, but he's just lost the back end of the Ferrari. He's been able to keep it ahead of the Aston Martin, but he's lost so much momentum. Means Levy breaks the DRS immediately, 1.2 seconds. And that's going to make it a lot more difficult for the Ferrari to stay with the McLaren. Not only does he have the harder compound, he's got the older tyre, and he's lost momentum and fallen out of DRS. Podium was on the cards, now he's defending P4 for all it's worth. Guys are saying Hamilton the GOAT. Well, we don't have discussions about the GOAT on this channel. So I just don't think you can work that out. Some will say, look at the records. I always say stats don't lie. So technically that does come back to bite me, because if you do look at the stats, statistically he is the GOAT. Most victories, most pole positions, most podiums, pretty much most everything. Remember, in Michael Schumacher's day, point scoring system was very, very different. Only the top 6 drivers scored points, 10 for a victory, 1 for P6. And championships were much, much shorter, typically 15 to 16 rounds a year. Sport has changed very, very much. So working out the GOAT over that period of time, it just seems unfair. Maybe you can do it in a sport like football or something else that rules haven't changed that much, but in F1, a sport that's always evolving, rules are always changing, I think it's just unfair to try and work out who is the greatest of all time over such a long period of time, when simply the ground rules weren't the same. Of course, those Formula 1 cars were very, very different from these. Much smaller, much lighter, and my favorite, so much louder. Visor saying 8-time champ. I can only think of one 8-time champ, so I'm going to presume you're talking about Marc Marquez, but that's a different sport. That's MotoGP. Of course, one of those championships coming in the Moto3 series, another one coming in the Moto2 series, back when they were still called the 125 and 250 series. The rest of those championships, they've all come in the Premier class. As for an 8-time F1 champion, well, it's never happened. It might still. Of course, Max Verstappen, 4 championships. Can't ignore Lewis Hamilton, he does have 7 championships, but Ferrari would have to perform quite the turnaround in the way they manage their weekends. Not only do they need a much quicker car, they need to know how to manage that much quicker car, because once they get to the front of the field, they still can't be having those team mishaps. But regardless of my love of Red Bull and Max Verstappen, I'll always have the soft spot for Ferrari. I was a Michael Schumacher fan throughout his career, which means for a very long time in Formula 1, I was draped in Ferrari clothing every weekend. Of course, Ferrari almost going for 20 years without a championship. Their last championship was in 2007 with Kimi Raikkonen. So if they don't get one this year or next year, well, we're heading for the 20-year anniversary, and I just didn't think we'd ever see that again. Andre, Virus, P4, P5, Levy has cleared the road, 3.3 seconds up the road from Andre, but still nowhere near the leaders. They're in a race of their own. Weeze and Jonas 3/10, Levy P3, Andre P4, and I think he sees that podium just slipping away from him. It's almost going to require a mistake from the car ahead. Just doesn't have the tyres to do it, and he's got his mirrors full of virus. If Skull is in the comment section, if Boinkies is in the comment section, even if Top Gun is here, let me know what happened in your race. 3 retirements from the 14 that started means we're down to 11. Just going to have one unlucky driver finishing this race outside the points. Everybody else will take home some form of points. Of course, fastest lap points still available because this is F124, but when we move over to the new game, 2025 rules will apply, and that means that that fastest lap bonus point will fall away. Of course, that point fell away after all the scrutiny. It fell under because of the RB Red Bull Alliance. Many people believing that RB brought in Danny Ricciardo for a fresh set of tyres just to get the fastest lap and take it away from possibly Lando Norris getting that extra point. Of course, when we got to the finale, we knew the extra point wouldn't make a difference, but if it had, what a story that would have been. I think that story would have been bigger than, dare I say it, Abu Dhabi 21. I get the shivers. Abu Dhabi 21. Might think I'm getting the shivers over the supposed controversy. Not at all. Getting the shivers because all I hear is, Max Verstappen, you are the world champion. I'm just rubbing it in for Visor. Weeze leads the way, Jonas P2. That is a word of warning to everybody in the comment section. Don't ever drag me into real F1 events. Otherwise you're not going to get much comments about the action out on track. I'm trying to cover both, but I begin to ramble. Oshkotoon, the tyre whisperer, says Visor, 21 laps on the hard tyre, and I'm sure he's planning on taking it right to the very end. No point in pitting at this time. He's in P10 and he would just lose his point. But Skulk, he gets it done on track, goes up into P10, and even if Oshkotoon doesn't pit, well, he's not going to finish in the points. Unlucky. In a lobby with 11 drivers, when you're the unlucky one out the points. What do I even say about these two that hasn't been said? There's nothing left to say. I say they're 1-2, there's 3/10 between them, and nothing's changed. Except briefly, there was 1/10 between them. It's going to come down to who sling past who in the last DRS zone of the race. I think that will be your decider. After 18 minutes of qualifying, after 28 laps of racing, 0.3 of a second is the gap, and a DRS zone could be the decider in this race. Will it be Alpine? Will it be Red Bull? It's still far from decided. Pfizer not happy with my biased broadcasting apparently. Well, Sky Sports is allowed to be biased. I've got a much smaller audience. I'm allowed to be biased too. This will be the start of the final lap, and look as they go over the line almost side by side. Lap 29 of 29. It all comes down to this. We're going to try and stay with the leaders for as much of the lap as possible, if not all of the lap. We haven't focused on them too much because they've just been P1 and 2 slinging past each other, but this is going to be the deciding lap. Who finishes out front? I said it could be just the one DRS zone that decides all of this. Wee's currently the man in P2. He would be the beneficiary of that DRS. I think he currently has the better opportunity of winning this race. But in order to do that, he's still got to keep things in a straight line. And as we saw in qualifying, even Wees can make a mistake. All of the curb on the outside, getting as close to that Alpine as he possibly can. Red Bull versus Alpine. That was the story in qualifying. That is the story in the race. I don't think he's got more for him unless it's a lunge down the final corner, and that's not going to happen. Red Bull versus Alpine down the straight. How close will it be? A bit of a weave. And 0.2 of a second. Goodness me. Goodness me. I said they were in a different league. And this is what I mean. We're going to have to wait for half a minute until we see somebody else cross that line. Man in question, Levy P3. He's about to go over that line now, 33 seconds behind the leaders. But I think he can be very, very proud of that job. Best of the rest, and by quite a margin. Andre a further 6.9 seconds back. There he is. Almost thought he was going to do a weave. I think he remembers what happened the last time he did a weave. We all got a very good view of it on the channel. Not sure who that driver is, Harsh Rubber. But if you're out there, Harsh Rubber, Pfizer complimenting you on your ability to stretch the hard tire. There is Harsh Cartoon as he heads around the final corner, has a bit of a weave. Don't have too much of a weave, you might land up in the pit lane. He goes over the line. And that, ladies and gents, or is it lady and gent? I'm not sure if there's more than one of you in here. That is the end of the race. Let's get to your results. Brief look at the podium. Mute out the copyright music because F1 is greedy. And there are the results. Jonas takes the victory from Wees, 0.2 of a second at the end. He also gets the bonus point. So 26 points for Jonas on the night. Levy finishes P3, best of the rest, but 30 seconds back. Andre P4, then Spikes P5. Got Virus in P6, Osmond P7, Dispatcher P8, Essa P9. And the final point goes to Skulk. No point on the night, but he was able to complete the race. Harsh Cartoon in P11. And then the three DNFs, Top Gun, Skull, and very, very early on, Boinkies. Well, folks, I want to thank you all. Thank you all for joining. We had quite a few of you in here at a stage. I think it went up to about 15 viewers at a time. Not a lot of likes, but hopefully before you go, remember to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, remember to subscribe. Our next goal is 1,000 subscribers. Remember when I was all begging you for subs because we were trying to get to 100? Well, we're trying to get to 1,000. That's all due to all of you in the comment section that come back every week and give these videos a bit of a boost in the algorithm so more people get to see them. One more time, thank you all. Of course, channel goes on a bit of a break. This time it will return on Sunday. So we will have SKR returning 6 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. That might change from 6 p.m. We need to just confirm that Saudi Arabia time, but I think 6 p.m. is the time for now. And then, of course, League v League, 8 p.m. Monday, and back to SAFRL next week, 8 p.m. on Tuesday. Till Sunday, thank you all, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Orlando made you had it rough. Car so slow it was barely enough. Chugging along at the back of the pack. Fans yelling, mate, where's your pace at? Year after year you'd smile through the pain, dreaming of glory but stuck in the slow lane. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. Now here comes 2025. McLaren's car is straight up alive. Lando's grinning, he's topping the charts, screaming, this beast's got a million parts. But wait a sec, who's that in the other seat? Some Aussie kid who's bringing the heat. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. Oscar's new, but he's stealing the show. Passing Lando like, mate, let's go. Lando's like, I waited years for this ride. Oscar shrugs, cool story, now step aside. Team radio crackles, Lando behave, but Oscar's too busy catching that wave. Poor Lando thought he'd rule the track, but Oscar's out there, no looking back. Fans love the kid with the cheeky grin. Lando's like, when's my parade gonna begin? Still their mates, they laugh, they jest. McLaren's got two and they're both the best. Lando, Lando, what's the deal? Now your car's got wings, it's the real deal. Fastest on the grid in 2025, but Oscars in your mirrors, stealing your vibe. Oh, Lando, you're quick, but you're not alone. Oscar's got the keys to your McLaren throne. So here's to Lando, still chasing that crown, and Oscar the rookie who's shaking it down. Two fast mates in a papaya dream. McLaren's laughing, what a chaotic team. Oh, Lando, Oscar's got your number made.